Hi everyone, me again. Today I want to talk about how to do a good discussion board post. So I'm going to start on the syllabus page, which you should be able to see here, and I'm going to click on this link here. And that's going to take you to the page that describes the assignment. And if you don't click on the link in the syllabus, you can use the drop-down menu and you can see it's right there, discussion board. So I'm just going to be pretty brief about this. Because our class is asynchronous, this is really the only way for us to come together as a community of learners. So for most days, you'll be asked to post on our class discussion board. And as I say there, you can either click on that blue link, which I'll do in a second, or you can follow the drop-down menu above and get to the class discussion board. So just to be clear, the discussion board is informal writing. I'm not asking for anything perfect, not perfect ideas or perfect grammar or perfect punctuation. It's a place to share your ideas and to get feedback from me and your other classmates. So this is just a general explanation of the discussion board. For each specific discussion board post, I'll give you a prompt and give you any rules that I want you to follow when you're posting. Keep in mind that most discussion board posts are only 250 words or less. Every once in a while, I'll ask you to post something longer, but if I ask you to do that, that is related to your research project. So stuff for the readings or any watching or listening I ask you to do will always be pretty short, just 250 words, because I find nobody wants to read more than 250 words online. I certainly don't. So the other thing that I need to explain to you is that there is a discussion board respondent role. And for the discussion board respondent, every so often, not always, but every so often, one student will be asked to read all of the discussion board posts of their classmates. There's only 6 people in the class, so there's only 6 250-word posts that you would ever have to read. Actually 5, because you wouldn't have to read your own. So you'll read all of them, and then you'll write a 100 to 250 word summary of what your classmates are saying. And I give a little advice on this page for how to do that. And during, I think, probably the second week of class at this point, I'll assign folks to be respondents. You'll never have to be a respondent more than twice in the semester. And keep in mind that when you're a respondent, you don't have to do the original post. So you're really just reading 5 posts from your other classmates. I also list here how you'll be evaluated. I want to be very clear again. Here you can see not punctuation, not grammar, not spelling, not correct or perfect. I just want you to do this. It's good writing practice and it's good thinking practice. And I don't want to penalize you by if you don't do it perfectly. And also, if you feel super pressure to be perfect, you won't really post anything. You'll be so nervous to do that. So you'll see that the way you earn your grade is pretty much by posting. So if you post all but 3 discussion board posts in our 4 weeks, you'll earn at least a B for your 20%. Posts should be as close to the deadline as possible, and they should follow the guidelines for the discussion board prompt as listed on the discussion board for each time I ask you to post. If you do that at an acceptable level, and an acceptable discussion board prompt will be explained for each discussion board post, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about it, how to do it in a minute, you will get at least a B. And of course, reply to your colleagues when I ask you to, and follow the discussion board respondent assignment when you are asked to. So if you just do the work, you will at least get a B. And if you do that for all of them but one discussion board, so you get one free discussion board that you don't have to do, you'll earn an A for it. And keep in mind that if you ever do have an unacceptable discussion board post, and I have to be honest, I'm pretty easy on them and that rarely happens, but if it should happen, you could always revise it. Always, 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 always. As many times as you need to. But I will say, like I just said, most students don't have to revise them, and also the few students that do have to revise them, after revising once, it's almost always acceptable. So there's really no reason not to earn an A for this part of the assignment, and it shouldn't stress you out either. I list the information for how you would earn a C, and if you don't earn a C, you will fail the 20% that the discussion board counts, but I'm not really worried about that for anyone in our class. So that's an overview of the assignment. I'm going to quickly click just so you can see, because I went over this in the last video, where you post. You can click on the link in the syllabus or on the assignment page, or you can go to the drop-down menu and there you'll see it right next to the assignment description. So that's where we're at right now. This was the first post that I asked people to do if they wanted to. I'm doing this all on the same day, so nothing has really changed from the 5 minutes ago when I recorded the other video. But same deal, I explained to you how to post and how to reply. And for the first discussion board post, there will be no respondent. I'll be a respondent so I can model for you how I want you to do it. So that's the discussion board. We've gone over the assignment. Now what I want to do is do a really quick mini lesson about how to do a really great discussion board post, which really means how do you write a good summary? And I'll tell you what, summaries are harder than you think they are. I have read a lot of summaries in my life as a teacher, and I can tell you there's kind of an art to it. People think it's super easy. You just sort of put down all the information, but there's really a trick to it. And I'm asking you to write really short summaries, so you don't really have a lot of room to just cram it full of facts. You got to be careful about what you include. So the first thing is to do the reading or the watching or the listening. I'm always amazed at the numbers of students who think they can fake their way through a good summary by reading the first paragraph and the last paragraph and just kind of cramming it together. That will not work. I will know. I've been doing this a long time and I know. So please look on the syllabus for what you need to read, watch, or listen to, and read the whole thing. You might even want to take some notes. It's always a good step. Nothing I'm assigning you is too hard or too long, so it shouldn't be that difficult. The next thing is to draft your summary before you post. I would suggest drafting in maybe Microsoft Word or even handwriting it, just so that you have a place to get your ideas down before you actually post it to the discussion board. Some tips. Give your information in the order it appears in the text. I notice a lot of times students sort of like throw information from different parts of the essay or different parts from the video in all kinds of crazy order. But that's not how a summary works. You need to help your reader to understand what this piece was about by giving them the information in the order that it appears. As you do that, you want to think about the important people or events or facts that come up in the reading. Remember, 250 words, you can't include everything, so you want to make sure you include the most important ones. And just a little tip, make sure I can tell that you've read the entire text. Sometimes I've had students who've read the entire text, but this is why you would draft, they spend all this time writing about the first paragraph, and then they have like 4 words for the rest of the essay or the rest of the video, and that's not going to work. So you want to make sure that you have saved enough room for each part of the text that I've asked you to watch or read or listen to. And keep in mind that a summary includes analysis. Analysis means that you need to try to figure out why the author is writing or recording or telling you this information, which means that analysis really requires you to attempt to determine the main idea or thesis of the reading. So what's the big idea this author is telling us about? And that means that an analysis requires you to formulate an opinion about what you think the author is trying to get us to understand. And what I mean by that is not everybody's going to agree what the main argument or the main point of some piece of writing or a video or a podcast is. That's what makes us human. We disagree about the main point. And that's fine as long as you can prove that based on what you read, this is why you think this is the main idea. But that's your opinion, and so it's important to keep in mind that a good summary actually does include your opinion as part of its analysis when you make the effort to tell us what the thesis is. So to recap, make sure I can tell you read or watched or listened to the entire thing, include important details in the order they appear in the text, make an attempt at analysis even if you aren't totally sure, which means you're going to try to identify the main idea or thesis or main argument of the material. And another way to put that last part is, what big idea does the author want you to understand from what they've given you to read or watch or listen to? So sometimes we don't understand what we read, and that's okay, because part of learning to be an excellent reader means admitting what you don't understand. And when you don't understand, don't panic. Just write about it. Write about the things that confuse you or that you don't understand. That's totally legitimate, and I will count it as an acceptable reading journal if you do that. You'll be surprised that how often when you actually start to write about what you don't understand, you figure out what it means. Because typically the parts that you don't understand is where the author is doing their thing to get you to think about a certain idea. And a good summary is a good discussion board post. So if you follow these guidelines for writing a good summary, you will have an acceptable discussion board post, and you will be in good shape and on track to earn the A for the assignment. The last thing I want to talk about is what a respondent is. This is probably something, summarizing and that kind of stuff, you must have heard it someplace, a thesis, that kind of stuff. But a respondent maybe you haven't heard of. So in our class, a respondent is someone who summarizes the entire discussion board conversation. Essentially, you follow the same principles as you do for the summary. Make sure you read all of your classmates' stuff, come up with an opinion about what the big ideas were. Make sure you include enough details so that we can tell what you're talking about. Your summary doesn't have to be super long. It can be between 100 and 250 words. And remember, when you are assigned to be respondent, you don't have to post to the discussion board except for the respondent post. And the only thing is, you will respond after everyone else in class has posted, which means you might not make that midnight deadline because people will post all different times. If a lot of people haven't posted and you're kind of worried about being the respondent, that's not on you. So don't worry about that. We'll take care of that as we go. So I'm saying that again. If a lot of people haven't posted and you're freaking out, what am I going to do? I'm going to respondent this week. Don't panic. That's not on you. We'll figure it out. And that's it. That's the end of my slideshow, apparently. So now I'm going to go back to the assignment. Here again, if you have any questions for me about this, you can post those questions in the discussion board for the questions about the class, and I will try and answer them. The thing I really want you to not do is freak out about this. I don't want you to worry or panic. I just want you to try. This is the easiest 20% you'll earn of your grade. So I hope this makes sense to you, and I really look forward to seeing what you guys do on the discussion board. Take care. Bye.